Ever felt that, that nagging sense deep down that maybe you're meant for something more? You have these big dreams, these visions, but they seem to sit there stuck in your head. Like a someday thing. If you ever had that moment, thinking someday I'll do it, but someday never quite arrives, then this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah, today we're really digging into mindset, some powerful practical principles to unlock that potential. We're drawing insights from the Mastery Mindset. Focus on Achieving Your Goals and Dreams video. It's by Bizmaster Kian Tao Tung Kong on YouTube.
Right. And our mission here really is to unpack 20 pretty profound principles, ideas that can shift you from just dreaming to actually doing, moving you out of procrastination and into, well, unstoppable, purposeful action. We want to help you maybe reignite that spark, remember why your heart fluttered in the first place, and step into that bigger life you feel you were born for. So let's get into it. It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? We often wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions. But life, well, it doesn't really reward passive waiting. It seems to open up for those who are determined enough to just step forward, even when things aren't perfect.
Yep.
Because that dream inside you, it hasn't completely faded, has it? It's time to live with real commitment.
Exactly. And a key insight here is that, real transformation, it doesn't just start with an idea, not really, or even inspiration. It kicks off with a decision, a steel-like, unwavering decision, one that leaves zero room for hesitation. It's a shift from wanting something to truly needing it. Your goal stops being an option. It becomes, well, non-negotiable.
That's a powerful distinction.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable. I think many of us, maybe we make promises to ourselves,
Sure.
big dreams, but then we break those promises. Oh, I'll start next month, or I'm just not ready yet. And each time, you're kind of trading that future progress for present comfort. And the fascinating thing is, every time you negotiate with that goal, you're basically accepting, an ordinary life.
Yeah.
It's like a quiet erosion.
Right. And when a goal becomes truly non-negotiable, it starts to integrate into your identity. It shows up everywhere in countless tiny daily choices, like whether you wake up early or hit snooze,
Oh, yeah.
or whether you do focused work or just mindlessly scroll online. These little micro decisions,
Yeah.
that's where character gets built. That's where goals solidify through consistent action. Your emotions, they'll come and go. But the commitment, that needs to be an unchangeable foundation.
So if it's really non-negotiable, then acting now, not waiting for perfect, that becomes everything. For people who genuinely know what they want, the time to start is always now.
Right.
Not after some event, not after the holidays, just now, amidst whatever chaos is happening. Because really, if you're not actively living for your own goal, you inevitably end up working on someone else's. So what does this mean for you personally, listening right now? Are you standing up for your dream? Or are you waiting for someone else to hire you to build theirs? Okay, this idea of non-negotiable goals, it leads us straight into the depth of commitment needed. How do we actually move from saying, I'll try, to a solid, I will do it? Because that really feels like the line, doesn't it, between just being a dreamer and being someone who makes dreams real.
Well, wholehearted commitment means you put your entire being into it. You hold absolutely nothing back. Partial commitment. That always leaves an escape route, makes it easy to quit when things get tough.
The back door.
Exactly. But when you're all in, you just keep going. Even if the whole world seems to turn its back on you, a dream really gets its power when it shifts. It becomes something you feel you literally cannot live without. It stops being a nice to have and becomes a deep, personal must-have.
And that wholehearted commitment, it's not just impulse, is it? It sounds like it's forged from understanding why. Deeply understanding why you must do this. You can try on shoes, like you said, or try a recipe. But you can't just try to live your dream. Dreams don't really reward the half-hearted, do they? They reward the ones willing to pay the price. But this raises a question, maybe for a lot of listeners. Does that mean no fallback plan? Because honestly, that sounds risky.
It's a very valid concern. The danger with a fallback plan, especially if it's your main focus, is that it can subtly plant seeds of doubt. If you keep that back door wide open in your mind, you might never fully commit to pushing through the front door when it gets hard. What's really compelling here, though, is how fully committing changes you. Your internal state shifts. Opportunities that seemed invisible, they often start appearing. Not because the world changed necessarily, but because you've changed your focus, your energy, your clarity. You become attuned to things you missed before.
Okay. And as you build that deep commitment, it sounds like it's sheer determination, not just fleeting ideas or motivation, that gets you to the finish line. It's that inner state, something you cultivate, that keeps you going through the cold, dark, on inspired days.
That's it. Successful people, they operate from that deep determination. Those who give up, they often act only when it's convenient or when it feels easy. Determination gets built by keeping promises to yourself consistently, even in the small moments when nobody's watching. And you can't really cultivate that if you always take the easy path. You have to start seeing challenges as training grounds, vital training for your will.
It's interesting, too, that determination isn't just about these huge, massive goals. It often comes from choosing one really important thing and just pouring your whole presence into it.
Right.
Acting daily, not to prove anything to the world, but just to live a life of focus, of purpose, which makes you ask, what are you really willing to sacrifice to keep your word on this deep personal commitment?
Yeah, and when determination truly leads, you stop waiting. You don't wait for permission or perfect circumstances or validation. You start exactly where you are with what you have. And persistence itself. It starts to reveal the path forward, even the twists and turns. Determination is like that internal light guiding you through.
Okay, so having this big, grand dream, it can be really overwhelming, can it? A lot of inspiring people with great visions get stuck right there. The sheer scale just feels paralyzing. So the most important step isn't just dreaming big, but systematically breaking it down, dividing that dream into steps small enough so you can actually start immediately.
Absolutely. Think about building a skyscraper. Nobody builds the whole thing in one morning. First, they dig the foundation, then the base, then the steel frame. Only then do the walls go up.
Right, step by step.
Each day is one specific part, one measurable step. And these small, concrete, measurable actions, they are the most powerful antidote to procrastination because we tend to fear the vague, the overwhelming, not the specific action itself.
And crucially, each small step needs a deadline. That seems key. If you just say, I'll do this someday, well, that's basically inviting procrastination in. But if you say, I'll finish this specific task by 5 p.m. today, suddenly there's urgency, there's commitment tomorrow.
Yeah, that's probably the most deceptive word we believe. Acting, even in a small way, brings clarity. It actually illuminates the very next steps. Once you start, the path often gets surprisingly clearer. And what truly separates dreamers from doers? Often it's a clear written plan. It's much more than just a map. It's a commitment you solidify. You write it down for yourself. Successful people, they don't just hope things go well, they proactively prepare for success. And that preparation means meticulously writing out the plan, breaking down those big goals into specific daily actions, and assigning clear deadlines.
But okay, having the plan, that's not enough, is it? You mentioned action. Only consistent action actually gets results. And this is where so many people falter. They create a brilliant plan, maybe spend weeks on it, but then they don't follow through. That temptation of excuses, I'm too tired, too busy, not inspired today, it leads to what you might call silent failure. And it's important to realize, isn't it, that every justification you make, it subtly weakens your own willpower.
Yes, so to really stick to your plan, design it with zero room for guesswork. Instead of something vague like work on project A this morning, make it specific. From 8:00 to 10:30 a.m., I will complete item number 2 on project A.
Ah, very specific.
That specificity is the enemy of laziness. And also, regularly evaluate your plan, not to change the ultimate goal necessarily, but to refine the path. Optimize how you're getting there.
Okay, now let's talk about something we all feel. Fear. That uncomfortable, often paralyzing feeling. It's often said, fear isn't the biggest enemy. It's your silence in the face of fear that holds you back. Most fears, when you really look at them, fear of failure, rejection, judgment, not being good enough, they're largely imagined, aren't they?
They really are. And bold action isn't about the absence of fear. Nobody feels no fear. It's about the conscious choice to act even while your hands might be trembling. And confidence. Crucially, confidence comes after the action. It doesn't come before.
That's huge.
The more you step forward despite fear, the more courage you actively build. Fear only has power when you avoid it. Let it ride shotgun if it has to, but don't ever let it drive the car.
That's a vital distinction. Breakthroughs just don't happen in comfort zones. We know this. So if we need to overcome fear, how do we actually approach it? What's the practical step? First, maybe don't deny it. Acknowledge it's there. Maybe even write down the specific fear. Name it. Second, identify the absolute smallest action you can take to face it. And then just do it right away. No hesitation, no overthinking. Which highlights a crucial point. Action really is the only effective cure for fear.
And success, when you boil it right down, often comes down to simply showing up day after day with an unwavering spirit. Dedication isn't some fleeting feeling, it's a daily decision. It's not dependent on inspiration. If you're always waiting for inspiration to strike, well, you'll always be late to your own life.
And showing up, that means engaging with your work like it's a mission, right? Approaching every task, even the small ones, with respect. Aiming to create real value. It's the opposite of just phoning it in, just getting it over with. So many people lose their passion, not because they stop loving the work itself, but because they lose that simple, powerful habit. The habit of showing up daily with intention.
Absolutely. Consistent action, regardless of how you feel inside or what's happening outside, that's what keeps the flame alive. And full presence. That means no multitasking, no half-hearted effort when you are working on your goal. The surprising thing is, passion isn't just some spark you wait for. It's actively nurtured. It's sustained by those small, daily, committed actions.
Okay, one of the biggest excuses I hear, and I've used it myself plenty, I'm just too busy. But the truth is, you never just have time, do you? Time isn't something you find lying around. It's always filled, actively filled, by whatever you prioritize. So the real question isn't how much time do you have, it's what are you prioritizing with the time you do have.
That's exactly it. If something is genuinely important to you, you will find a way. You just will. If it's not truly important, you'll find a convenient excuse. Always. You won't magically have time unless you deliberately create it, and that means choosing what to eliminate or at least deprioritize from your current schedule.
So a practical step could be dedicating a fixed block of time daily, even just 30 minutes, first thing in the morning maybe, or in the evening, and treating that time block for your goals like an absolutely uncancelable appointment in your calendar. It might feel hard at first, especially if you're used to being reactive all day. But the progress you see, even from just 30 disciplined minutes, it can become incredibly addictive, can't it?
It really can. And success consistently starts with a clear intention, which is then nurtured, amplified by unwavering consistency. And intention isn't just a wish. It's a conscious, deliberate choice, a powerful inner commitment that guides your actions. And it empowers you to say no to all those distractions that pull you off course.
Right. So many people struggle because they lack that clear focus. They let their emotions dictate their day instead of purpose. They might be busy, super busy even, but often feel directionless. But a strong, clear intention acts like an internal compass. It helps you confidently say no to the stuff that doesn't matter and a firm yes to what truly does, even when it's hard or nobody else gets it.
And consistency. Consistency builds clarity, it builds stability, and, maybe surprisingly, flexibility too. It transforms that intention from an abstract idea into a daily, practical compass. Consistency isn't about doing a massive amount in one day. It's about reliably doing what needs to be done day after day over the long haul. It's about quiet persistence, not fanfare.
And consistency builds self-trust. That feels really important. Each time you keep your word to yourself, honor your intention, you reinforce this image of yourself as someone trustworthy, disciplined, visionary. It's incredibly powerful to actually write down your intention, not just think it. Make it something you physically see every day and keep it front and center. Okay, let's really dig into this core truth. Nobody else can live your life for you. Nobody can do the work that only you can do. And nobody else can reap the rewards of effort you haven't put in. Which brings us to something absolutely foundational for personal growth.
Yes, the absolute necessity of taking full, unwavering responsibility. And that means no excuses, no blame, no avoidance, period. Every single result in your life, good or bad, ultimately stems from your own decisions, your actions. Or inaction. You can't control the wind, right? But you always control how you set your sails. If you consistently avoid facing your mistakes, you're basically doomed to repeat them. Maybe in different ways, but you'll repeat them.
So that means making a conscious choice to stop blaming. Stop blaming circumstances, stop blaming other people. It's a powerful and sometimes uncomfortable realization. You can have reasons, or you can have results.
Correct.
But you definitely can't have both. The truly mature person stops looking for someone or something else to blame. They don't complain about their upbringing or their teachers or the government or the economy. They understand that every time you blame, you're effectively giving away your power, your control over your own life.
That creates a fundamental difference between those who succeed and those who get stuck. Achievers act from a place of deep responsibility. They don't need external prompts or praise to keep going. Taking full responsibility means facing consequences directly, honestly, courageously. It's embracing ownership, which shifts you from being a victim of circumstance to being the empowered driver of your own destiny. The question changes from, why me, to, okay, what can I do now?
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Yeah.
Nobody's born perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody starts with all the answers. But it's that fundamental belief. Belief in yourself and belief in the process of development. That seems to distinguish those who move forward. So many people quit. Not because they lack talent, but just because they don't believe in their own ability to figure it out, to grow.
Genuine growth unfolds when you keep going, even when you feel far from perfect, far from ready. It happens when you choose to act before you feel confident. Confidence, almost paradoxically, is the result of action. It's the reward you get for daring to start.
Right, not the starting point.
Exactly. You don't need to be the best to start, but you absolutely must start if you ever want to become your best.
And believing in the process. That means accepting results aren't always immediate or linear. There will be days you do everything right and see nothing change. Weeks you feel stuck, doubt yourself. True belief shows up when you keep working diligently, even without that immediate proof. Every small practice, every mistake corrected, every time you refuse to give up. That is the proof. Proof you're developing. You don't need anyone else to validate that. That internal validation is key.
Let's be blunt for a second. Nothing defeats you as easily or as thoroughly as you defeat yourself when you lack discipline. Raw talent. Without the backbone of discipline, it just dissolves. It gets lost in fleeting emotions. Dreams remain just promises. Discipline is a profound gift you give yourself. The gift of consistency, clarity, and unwavering stability.
So discipline means acting based on your principles, your plan, not your mood, not waiting for inspiration. If you wait for inspiration, you might work, a few days a month? But if you have discipline, you work every day, consistently. You don't wait until you feel ready. You act to become ready.
Exactly. Discipline is the bridge between your goal and actually achieving it. And it's built meticulously through repeated right actions. Even when, maybe especially when, every fiber of your being wants to procrastinate. It's not always about doing more, it's about doing what's necessary, consistently, to cultivate it. Create systems, prepare the night before, remove distractions. Discipline doesn't limit you, it actually liberates you. It gives you more time, more energy, better results.
And it's easy to think, oh, I'm just not a disciplined person. But that's usually not quite true, is it? Everyone has discipline for things they genuinely prioritize. Some people never missed a game, others have their coffee ritual down pat. The real question is, what are you actively disciplining yourself for?
Now, challenges. They aren't there to defeat you, they arrive specifically to train you. Every obstacle, every failure, every setback, it carries within it an opportunity, a profound opportunity for improvement. They are essentially strict, silent, and incredibly honest teachers.
That's a powerful way to reframe it. Strength isn't created in comfort zones, we know that. It's forged. Forged in the furnace of sweat and doubt and sometimes loneliness. So when hardship shows up, don't just try to escape it. Look for what's forming inside you. Resilience, patience, deeper self-understanding. Because no significant challenge comes without leaving some kind of gift behind.
Challenges test your loyalty to your dream. So instead of avoiding the negative feelings, pivot, ask, what exactly am I learning here? What needs to change within me? How can I use this? That shift from seeing it as a burden to seeing it as an asset is absolutely pivotal.
And remember, these storms, they don't last forever. But you absolutely won't be the same person after going through them. You'll emerge sharper, stronger, often calmer. Never underestimate the power of just persisting. Sometimes just one more day, one more push unlocks everything. Breakthroughs others missed because they stopped just short.
Here's a really subtle but dangerous mistake. Thinking you can stop learning once you feel you're, a little better than others. That mindset, it leads straight to silent stagnation. As you climb higher, the world actually demands more from you. More subtlety, more sensitivity, faster adaptation.
So continuous learning means deliberately keeping that humble, open, ready-to-listen student spirit alive. Always. It's not just books or courses. It's conversations, analyzing mistakes, actively seeking feedback. The fastest learners aren't necessarily the ones with the best memory. They're the ones who ask deep questions, who turn every experience into a lesson.
And continuous improvement relentlessly elevates your standards. What used to be a dream becomes your new normal, your new baseline. It is genuinely never too late to start learning again. Be intentional about it. Protect time for learning like it's your most important meeting. Learn with a purpose. Solve real problems. Increase your personal value.
And don't be afraid to dive into completely new skills, unfamiliar fields. Real growth rarely comes from staying comfortable, staying in the familiar. It demands daring to step into the unknown and committing to stay there long enough to learn. Be willing to update old beliefs, old assumptions. A lifelong learner is always curious, always seeking, always experimenting.
Okay, perfectionism. It's such a subtle trap, isn't it? It often disguises itself as diligence or high standards, but really, deep down, it's often a manifestation of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure. It fuels procrastination, makes you wait for the perfect moment that never comes, or endlessly tweak something that's already good enough. The simple truth. Nothing teaches you faster or better than the actual process of doing.
Right. Successful people start even when they feel clumsy, unprepared. They refine as they go. They learn while they're working. The world isn't waiting for your final, flawless version. It responds to your first courageous draft, your first step. And it's from that effort, that messy first attempt, that you get the real-world feedback you need to improve.
So, focusing on the process means accepting initial imperfection gracefully, but coupling it with that unwavering commitment to move forward anyway. Nobody starts at the peak. Nobody. Consistency and refinement applied over time, that's what accumulates results. That's what turns the initially imperfect into eventual excellence.
It's crucial to see how perfectionism can just kill creativity, that fear of making mistakes.
Yeah.
It prevents you from even trying new things. You don't need to see the whole path clearly to start. You just need to see the very next step and take it.
Obstacles. They aren't the enemy. They are an essential, unavoidable part of any meaningful journey. Think of them as a test, a filtering barrier, an examination, really, of your worthiness to achieve that dream.
Yeah, but most people see obstacles as a sign to stop, right, or turn back. That's the default reaction. But successful people, they might pause, retreat even, but then they analyze, they learn the lesson, and then they act again, often stronger than before. A really vital insight here is that the most powerful thing you can do when you hit an obstacle is ask the right question. What can I learn from this situation?
Shifting focus from the pain or frustration to the potential lesson. That immediately reclaims your control, your internal power. Obstacles are like mirrors. They show you exactly where you need to get stronger. Hit a wall. It just means you need to learn how to climb. Or maybe figure out how to go around it strategically. They force you to change strategies, reevaluate your approach.
And remember this. You can't control everything that happens to you. External events are often out of your hands, but you always control your reaction, your response. At every single turn, you have that choice. Be a victim or be a warrior. And it's persevering through these challenges that makes your backbone stronger than you ever thought possible.
In this noisy world full of distractions, our inner voice, our intuition, it's so easy to lose touch with it. And that leads to hesitation, endless analysis, paralysis. Yet, consistently successful people, they learn to trust their intuition and, crucially, act decisively on it. Intuition isn't magic. It's distilled experience, deep observation, connection to yourself. It's that gut feeling, that sense of what's right, even if logic doesn't immediately back it up.
Have you ever had that feeling, that strong hunch, like you should say yes to something unexpected, even if it seemed risky? Or maybe a clear feeling you should stop doing something, even when everyone else said keep going? That's your intuition talking.
Absolutely, but intuition alone, it's not enough. It gains its real power only when you pair it with decisiveness, with action. Opportunity doesn't wait around for the hesitant. Success rarely comes to those who constantly delay. You have to cultivate the wisdom to trust that inner knowing, and then the courage to act on it quickly.
So maybe a practice here is just moments of stillness to reconnect with that quieter voice. And maybe review times in the past when you did follow a hunch. You'll often find it was surprisingly accurate, right? And here's the kicker, worth repeating. Action builds confidence, not the other way around.
Okay, let's land on this profound truth, one many instinctively avoid. Self-development always comes with discomfort. Always. Genuine growth simply does not happen in your comfort zone. It can't. Any significant change brings unfamiliarity, instability, sometimes, yes, even a degree of pain. But discomfort in this context isn't the problem. It's a vital signal. A signal you're stepping out of the old, the familiar, and moving into growth.
Think about physical training, right? That muscle soreness. It's not a sign you did something wrong. It's proof. Proof you're progressing. Your muscles are adapting, getting stronger. Similarly, mental or emotional discomfort often means you're being honed, refined, made more resilient. So when something feels uncomfortable, instead of immediately backing away, maybe just observe it with curiosity.
Exactly. Instead of asking, how can I make this feeling stop? Try asking, what is this feeling trying to teach me right now? Don't try to escape it with distraction. Sit with it. Breathe. Observe it without judgment. That seemingly small act, just being present with discomfort, is actually a huge leap in inner growth.
And every small, deliberate action you take through that discomfort, it builds an incredibly solid foundation. The world doesn't really reward you for feeling comfortable all the time, but it opens doors consistently when you overcome yourself, when you push past those perceived limits. True, lasting growth never comes from seeking comfort. It comes from embracing discomfort and choosing again and again to keep moving forward. So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe take a moment. Think about one big dream you've held on to, perhaps quietly, deep down, one that still makes your heart flutter a bit. What's one small, maybe even slightly uncomfortable step you can take today, guided by your intuition, to make that dream truly non-negotiable? And maybe, what's one excuse you're genuinely ready to just completely let go of, starting right now?
Yeah, I'd encourage you to take some time, reflect on these 20 principles we've touched on. Which one really resonated, hit home for you? And how might you apply just that one specific insight to your own life? Taking that first decisive step today.